You can have the latest car, a fat bank account, and a luxury watch, and still be overlooked by a woman who's drawn to a man with almost nothing, yet everything within. This isn't spiritual fluff or Instagram philosophy. It's real. And the sooner you understand this, the faster you'll stop humiliating yourself trying to prove your worth through things that can be bought. The truth is, deep feminine desire doesn't feed on status. It craves presence, stability, and authenticity. In 2025, what attracts a woman most isn't what you have. It's who you are when everything is stripped away, and all that's left is your gaze. And that's why today, through Stoic wisdom, I'll show you 7 secret traits women admire more than wealth, even if they never say it out loud. 1. Masculine presence, the art of being felt without saying a word. Masculine presence isn't about being physically close. It's about being deeply felt, even in silence. The modern world is full of noise, but a focused, calm man stands out like a lighthouse in the storm. He doesn't chase attention, he draws it in. His masculine energy doesn't shout, it resonates. And that, my friend, is something a woman feels in her entire body, long before she can explain it with words. True presence comes from inner security. It's the quiet strength of someone who doesn't need to prove anything because he knows his worth. He walks into a room and people feel it, effortlessly. It's not about looks, it's about rooted self-confidence. A man who knows himself moves differently. He walks with weight, speaks with purpose, and watches with intentional eyes that say more than 1,000 rehearsed lines. If you want to develop this kind of presence, start by turning off autopilot. Sit in a cafe without your phone and just observe. Breathe. Look around with real awareness. When you're with someone, really listen, not just waiting for your turn to speak. Assertive communication is born from deep listening. Yes, it takes practice, but the result is powerful. People begin to remember you not by what you said, but by what your presence made them feel. Women can tell when a man is there, but not truly present. You've seen it, the guy on a date, mind stuck on work or buried in his notifications. That kills attraction. But a man with a grounded posture, who looks her in the eye without flinching, who doesn't get lost in her emotional waves, he's unforgettable. His silent magnetism can't be taught in a course. It's forged in the daily practice of emotional self-mastery. You don't want to be remembered for clever phrases. You want to be remembered for the energy that lingered when you said nothing at all. When you develop consistency of purpose, your presence becomes rare. And everything rare becomes deeply desired. But here's the question. Are you willing to stop running and finally learn how to stand still and truly be present? 2. Authenticity, the man who doesn't perform but captivates. Authenticity is when your thoughts, emotions, and actions are fully aligned. There's nothing more magnetic than a man who isn't trying to impress, he just is. In a world where everyone's performing, being real has become a superpower. And the most attractive part, you can't fake it. A truly authentic man carries unshakable personal value because he doesn't rely on anyone's approval. Authentic men aren't the loudest, they're the most consistent. They speak less but live more. They say no when needed, even if it makes others uncomfortable. And yes, only when it aligns with their truth. They don't mold themselves to please. They're not rude, just clear. This is the essence of assertive communication. And within that clarity lies subtle dominance. He doesn't force, he leads by example. People follow not because he demands it, but because ignoring him feels impossible. To cultivate this, start by noticing where you're lying to yourself. When do you act out of fear of rejection? A simple exercise. Every night, write the sentence, "Today, when did I betray my truth?" Over time, you'll start catching yourself in the act and correcting. Read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. He didn't write for others. He wrote for himself. That's a true practice of emotional maturity. Authenticity doesn't mean being explosive, saying everything on your mind, or being emotionally reckless. No, it means controlled vulnerability, knowing what to share, when and with whom. Being real without being abrasive, strong without being hard, emotional without being a mess. That's rare, and women sense it in gestures, in tone, in the way you uphold a boundary. And yes, they respect and deeply crave that man. Now ask yourself, how many men do you know who are that real, no mask, no act, not trying to be the nice guy? Rarely any. That's why the truly authentic man becomes unforgettable. And here's the twist. The more authentic you become, the more you attract exactly the right kind of woman. The one who doesn't fall for your performance, but falls for your unedited self. And guess what? She'll want to know if behind all of that, there's a purpose worth following. 3. Emotional mastery, the man who doesn't fall apart. There's a quiet strength that separates men who inspire trust from those who just react to life. That strength is called emotional mastery. It's the ability to remain centered when everything around is falling apart. It's not about being cold, it's about being grounded. A woman may not have words for it, but she can feel when she's with a man who doesn't crumble at the first sign of pressure. Men without emotional control live on edge, always reacting, always impulsive. But a stoic man? He breathes before he speaks. He listens before he judges. He doesn't suppress what he feels, he witnesses it. That internal space between emotion and reaction creates a rare kind of inner security that no amount of money can replace. Want to build this power? Start with the small stuff, traffic, lines, daily annoyances. Instead of reacting, pause, breathe, observe, then respond. It sounds basic, but it trains your psychological resilience like a muscle. Meditation, journaling, or even reading Seneca's on anger can radically shift how you respond to the world. Just 5 minutes a day, but commit. A high-value woman doesn't want a robot. But she also doesn't want a man who falls apart over every little thing. She wants presence, but presence with strength. Someone who can weather her storms without drowning. And yes, she will test this, not to hurt you, but to feel your stability. If you fold easily, she can't trust you. But if you stay centered under pressure, she realizes, this man has real power. And here's the beauty of it. Once you master yourself, you begin to master your energy, your language, your life's direction. That's when the game changes. Because the man who controls how he feels starts to command a deeper kind of respect and desire. And maybe that's why the next natural step is learning how to speak with clarity and lead with your voice. 4. Assertive communication, a voice that leads, not pleases. Assertive communication isn't about sounding smart. It's about speaking truth, clearly, respectfully, and without fear. A man who knows how to express himself with strength and respect stands out immediately. He doesn't ramble. He doesn't hide behind excuses. He says what needs to be said, with masculine presence and no anxiety about approval. And believe me, that's more attractive than 1,000 sweet nothings. Many men think they need the right words to impress. But the truth is, what you withhold but embody speaks louder than rehearsed lines. Your tone, your pause, your eye contact, it all communicates. A man with effortless charisma doesn't talk much. But when he does, people feel it. And even more powerfully, he knows when to say nothing at all. Want to build this? Practice listening first, truly listening. Ask open-ended questions. Be fully present. Then when it's your time to speak, be concise. One practical tool. Before an important conversation, write down what you really want to say, no fluff. This builds internal clarity, which fuels natural leadership. Because leadership begins in the mind, with self-understanding. Women instantly recognize when a man is trying to please with every word. That's not attractive, it's repellent. It reeks of insecurity in a polite costume. But when she senses you speak from conviction, without seeking permission, something shifts. She starts respecting your boundaries, trusting your words, and following your emotional lead. Because where there's clarity, there's direction. And where there's direction, there's attraction. How you speak reveals not just what you think, but who you are. And the more your words align with your actions, the stronger your influence becomes. That alignment between what you say, feel, and do lays the foundation for the next principle. The kind of man who makes a woman feel safe without even having to promise it. 5. Inner security, the peace that draws her in before the first touch. There's a type of man who walks into a room and instantly brings calm. Not because he's trying to, but because he carries peace within. That's what true inner security looks like. It's not about always being right. It's about not losing yourself, even when everything is going wrong. It's the kind of strength you can't see, but everyone around feels it. This security starts when you become your own best ally. When you stop looking for validation in others and start building from within. When you realize that your worth comes from how consistent you are with your own values. It starts with the simple things, keeping your word to yourself. Wake up when you said you would. Resist sending that reactive text. Every act like that strengthens your inner compass, your unshakable self-worth. Want to feel more of this peace? Do the inner work. Therapy, meditation, journaling, silent retreats, they all deepen your self-awareness. But so do simple disciplines. Keep your space clean, pay your bills on time, care for your body regularly. These things matter. When your outer world is in order, your inner world stabilizes. And women feel this in your sense of direction, in how grounded you are even in silence. When a woman gets close, she's not looking for perfection. She's looking for shelter, not physically but emotionally. And when she meets a man who doesn't need to prove he's the man, she relaxes. Because she knows, intuitively, she can finally put her guard down. And when that happens, something rare is born, real connection. The kind that doesn't come from talk, but from the calm energy you radiate just by being present. That's when it hits you. True attraction isn't about what you possess. It's about what you radiate. And the more stable your inner world becomes, the easier it is to embody other rare qualities, like the kind of leadership that doesn't need control to be felt. And maybe it's exactly that silent influence that awakens her desire to follow your movement. 6. Natural leadership, the man who leads without needing to command. True leadership isn't forced. It happens when a man lives with such consistency of purpose that he becomes a reference, even without trying. Natural leadership isn't about control. It's about direction. It's when a man knows where he's going, and those around him feel safe walking beside him. Not because he barks orders, but because his presence alone radiates certainty without arrogance. This kind of man makes firm decisions but listens carefully. He observes before acting, and when he moves, it's with intention. He says, "Let's go," not "go." That's what makes a woman trust his leadership. She senses that even when he doesn't have all the answers, he has a clear inner compass. And that creates more security than 1,000 emotional promises. Want to cultivate this? Start small. Set a clear daily routine. Make commitments and keep them, especially to yourself. A man who can lead himself inspires others. Read Nicomachean Ethics by Aristotle to understand how virtue builds character. Or for something more modern, try The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. It captures that sharp, masculine energy that leads through presence, not performance. This man can also admit mistakes without losing his center. He doesn't run from responsibility, nor does he carry the world on his shoulders in dramatic fashion. He holds a powerful posture, balanced with controlled vulnerability. When he needs help, he asks. When he needs to lead, he guides. That creates a relationship built on natural respect, and an attraction that feels inevitable. Because in the end, women pay more attention to your gestures than your speeches. They sense when you lead with truth, with authenticity, with grounded presence. And when she feels that, she doesn't just trust, she admires. And admiration, when nurtured, becomes a quiet hunger to go deeper. To uncover what more there is behind the man, who doesn't just walk, but knows exactly where his next step lands. 7. Magnetic mystery, the power of being felt, not decoded. There's something instinctively magnetic about a man who doesn't reveal everything at once. Mystery isn't about hiding who you are. It's about not unloading everything up front. He keeps curiosity alive. He speaks what's needed, shares what's real, but holds back just enough that she wants to know more. It's not a game, it's an art. And above all, it's a sign of emotional maturity and self-mastery. This man doesn't live explaining himself. He knows silence communicates too. He leaves space, pauses, and intentional gaps. That creates tension. And when used well, tension creates desire. He's engaging but not needy. A woman senses that there are layers in him she hasn't reached yet. And that depth activates her instinct to get closer. He becomes an emotional enigma, impossible to ignore. Want to build this presence? Stop trying to be predictable all the time. Protect your individuality. Keep your projects, your friends, your hobbies. Don't be the guy who replies instantly, who's always available, who shares every detail of what he thinks and feels. A man with solid self-confidence knows that part of his value lies in what he doesn't need to say. He allows her to see him, but never all at once. Here's the truth. Mystery isn't manipulation. It's a quiet power posture that comes from inner depth. It shows there's a whole world inside you, and she'll need to earn access to it. That doesn't push her away. It pulls her in hard. Because deep down, female desire doesn't crave control. It craves movement. It craves that rare kind of man she feels deeply but never quite owns. And when that mystery aligns with firm presence, clear communication, and a non-negotiable sense of direction, something rare emerges. A complete man. A man who doesn't need to shout to be noticed. Who doesn't perform to be desired. A man who, even in silence, leaves a trail of impact behind him. And it's in that moment that she stops searching for a provider and starts longing for a soul-level partner. If you've made it this far, you've already felt it. What truly connects a woman can't be bought, and it definitely can't be faked. Real attraction starts deep inside, with your channeled masculine energy, your authenticity without masks, your presence that doesn't beg, just exists. Now let me ask you, how many men do you know who really embody this? More importantly, are you ready to become one of them? Or will you keep outsourcing your emotional power to external winds that only cover up insecurity? If this message stirred something in you, drop this in the comments. I choose to lead my energy. Let's see who's truly ready to grow from the inside out. If this video moved you, like it, share it with a brother who needs to hear it, subscribe, and hit the bell. The Stoic journey is just beginning, and you won't want to walk it alone.